Hello everyone. I am very excited to introduce our next speaker, Magdalena, who is teacher and street artist and is going into data science. Magdalena will be sharing about the stepping into the rabbit hole of contributing to open source software, highlighting key learnings and practical steps. What do you think is going to be an amazing talk? I am sure you will find his perspective interesting and very inspiring as I am. Please join me in welcoming Magdalena.
Hello, my name is Magdalena Kowalczuk, and today I would like to share with you my adventures in the open source land. So, I'm a teacher, I teach Dutch, and I'm also a artist. And so, you might ask yourselves, why am I talking to you about contributing to open source? And that's exactly what I would like to explain in the first part of my talk. Then I will give you some information about open source, my reasons, my doubts, and also what I learned from contributing to open source. Then I will follow with a bit information about the library I'm contributing to. And last and the most important, I will share with you some practical tips on how to fall into the rabbit hole. So I was living my chill life of a teacher and street artist. And 3 years ago, or more than 3 years ago, when the pandemics hit, I decided that I need a bit more healthy hobby than breathing in spray paint, and also a bit more challenging. And I thought, let's go back to programming. And I say, let's go back because when I was 9 or 10, my father bought me this machine and I was programming on it in BASIC. But this time I went for Golang. I really enjoy programming and learning how to do that. And I slowly started to gravitate toward machine learning. I really liked it so much that I thought, hey, it would be a great idea to one day be able to do it as a job. And so I've set up a plan. I started to go out to people, for example, to PyLadies workshops or PyData conferences. Uh, for example, last year I volunteered there and I met so many great people who accelerated my learning journey so much that at the beginning of this year, I was more or less ready to start applying for jobs. But I realized that there are some spots that I'm completely, unprepared um, to go and work with, and that was testing, that was also documentation, and of course Git. So I thought, what? How can I learn those, especially in a more professional circumstances than learning through courses? And I thought, open source. I was familiar with open source. I already wanted to contribute to open source before, but I always failed when I tried to do that, and I thought that's my chance uh, to finally do that first step and start contributing. So I went to a PyLadies open source sprint and I contributed to Scikit-Lego library. And that was my second contribution because I liked this one more than the first one, um, especially how it looks. And yeah, I continued contributing. I contributed to Narwhal's library, and I liked it so much that I painted a narwhal, and I also wrote a blog post about those first day of contributing experience to share it with other peoples. And that's when Marco, the author of Narwhals, told me that he thinks that this blog post would make a great talk proposal. And here I am. So yeah, what's up with open source? Uh, yeah, open source, that software is a software that you can freely view, modify, and distribute. And I really think that's a great idea that so many talented people work. Uh, usually for free, to build some awesome stuff. And so that was one of the main reasons to join open source. Even before, I wanted to use the open source to transition from being a learner to being a practitioner. As I mentioned before, I've seen that I'm missing some skills, or I could improve some of my skills. And I was also very excited about the idea of working with people who build stuff, so working with experts. And but I also had my doubts, and that's why it took me so long to do that first step. So from the time that I got to know about open source to the day that I did my first contribution, I think that it was at least 3 years. And so the first one, a main one, I thought that I'm not smart enough and I don't have enough skills. And I noticed that a lot of women I talk to share those doubts that they are just not skilled enough. Uh, when I finally told myself that, okay, let's just give it a try, even if you're not smart enough and you don't have enough skills, let's try it. Then another problem that I encountered was the choice overload. There was so many projects I could choose from, and even if I was able to choose one project, there were just usually a lot of issues. So I had really troubles deciding on which issue should I pick up. And once I've picked up an issue, another problem arose, and I was afraid that I will disappoint people because I had difficulty assessing how much time will I need. So, and if I don't finish my issue within one day, maybe people will be disappointed or they will be angry with me. Or if I finish this issue, then they will not be happy about the quality of my code. Or if I ask questions, maybe I will ask too many questions and I will make those people um, angry. Or I will ask too little questions, or I will ask the wrong questions. So that were the doubts that accompanied me when I was trying to enter the open source um, projects. And yeah, but I did it. I went to PyLadies open source sprint and did the first one, and then I started contributing more often. And I would like to share with you the experience of contributing to open source. And as you can see, it resembles a roller coaster because it's a real roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, so in my case, I was uh, contributing to open source, doing the stuff that I feel comfortable about, that were doc strings. And I was contributing there, and pretty quickly, Marco, so the author on Narwhals, encouraged me to try something more serious, like real coding. And I was terrified. I was terrified because I didn't understand the internals fully, but I was able to see some structure. So I've seen that he asked me to add the DDoF argument to standard deviation function. And I've seen that the standard deviation function appeared 4 times in the code. And yeah, so I thought, let's go. I can copy maybe how the arguments are passed within functions from some other function. And I started to do that, but then I noticed that one of the standard deviation functions has this correction um, argument, and I didn't really knew what that was. And I could do two things. I could either research that or try to, put it randomly somewhere and brute force the solution. And that's I made the wrong choice to and started brute forcing it. It took me around 2 hours to come to the idea that nope, it won't work. Then I did my research and I was pretty sure, okay, so this correction it's just another name for degrees of delta degrees of freedom argument. So I just deleted it and it worked. And it worked. And it's on the downside because I was pretty sure that by deleting this correction argument, I did a serious mistake. And that's why it was working, because it wasn't working. And but I wrote more tests to prove to myself that hey, it's working. The function does what it's supposed to do. And still, it took me half an hour to decide to push this code to the repo because I was pretty sure that I will make a fool of myself, that the quality of the code is not right, that I didn't understand what did I do while erasing, deleting this correction argument. But hey, it was correct. So that was like a real roller coaster of emotion to complete that PR. And at the end, I got this great GIF. And so that's what we do at Narwhals. If you contribute and your PR is accepted, you're gonna get a cute GIF of a cat, a dog, or a narwhal. Also, dolphins are included. Okay. Yeah, but there are sometimes less, let's say, lucky stories. Sometimes you just deliver bad quality code, and then your maintainer looks at you just like David Attenborough looks at the monkey. But everybody is always kind, and as you see. The question was just why is it needed? But that's just the part of learning experience, I think. And I could tell you about my Git failures, but I'm not ready yet. Yeah, so what did I learn? I learned that I am smart enough. So you don't really need to be a genius to contribute to open source. I also learned the skills. So I suppose my doubt was that I don't have enough skills to contribute. I didn't have the skills, but I learned them on the way. So that's a great learning experience. I learned how to handle uncertainty, especially with time. So you can make for yourself some rules that you're gonna spend 5 hours doing that and trying to understand what you're doing, and then if not, then ask questions or ask questions in the beginning. So this is what I learned, and it works perfectly now. Uh, I learned how to collaborate with people, and I think that's also a very important learning point because during courses, of course, you don't have so much opportunities to collaborate with people, and that was really nice to be able to communicate with other people, so real engineers or data science people who also contribute to Scikit Lego or Narwhals. And I learned a little bit about software development. So I I have the feeling that I become a like more valuable data scientist because of those skills. And I've met also awesome people, not only online but also in person, going to conferences, organizing open source sprint. That's just a great opportunity to meet people, and people who share your interests. And yeah, I feel like I owe you a little explanation about narwhals because I mentioned them so often. Narwhals is a library that helps you build data tools, and if you're familiar with data, you probably know pandas. That's kind of standard in the world of data, but there are also other data frame libraries, for example, polars. And Narwhals helps you build tools that will work with both of them, or at this moment, we expanded the backend, so we can help you build a tool that can accept different types of data frames. And I think that's a great idea, making the tools more accessible to different users. And that's why I love open source, because it allows you to work on such awesome ideas. Okay, the last part and the most important are the practical tips and tricks on how to start contributing. So, if you have never ever contributed to open source or worked with GitHub, I think that first contribution is a perfect starting point. What you do there, you contribute your name to a document, and you have all the steps listed. So you just need to follow them. And that's how you can do your first contribution, not stressing about breaking something or disappointing anybody. Another thing, maybe for more seasoned people who want, or people who would like to take on a bigger challenge, is to go to a project of your interest, the project you like, or maybe if you feel like to Narwhals or Scikit Lego libraries and add the contribute um, word at the end of the URL, then you will find a list of good first issues. And those are selected issues that are suitable for the beginners as a first thing, usually documentation things. But if you would like to contribute and you don't feel like your coding skills are enough, for example, at NaNiML, you can contribute to the little book of machine learning metrics. That's also a great way to contribute, not only by coding. And something in between, that's a really nice project by Nicoletta and Sebastian Hitchcock. That's a mock Python library where you can write functions for list manipulations or something you probably learn if you're into Python, you probably learned during courses. And so that's why you can totally focus on working with Git and GitHub and just learn all the details of how to do that. None of those things worked for me, as I failed to do the first contribution, and also like I found that good first issue are a bit too overwhelming for me, and I didn't know the Hitchcock back then. But what worked for me was talking to people who turn out to be maintainers, and then going to an open source sprint. So if you would like to start contributing and you need some support, talk to maintainers. You can also talk to me. Go to an open source sprint. PyLadiesCon is organizing also open source sprints during this, like today or tomorrow. So or yesterday. And or visit PyLadies LinkedIn page or Meetup and just look for open source sprints, because they're a great opportunity to meet people like you who want to contribute for the first time, or people who would like to help people like you or me. So, um, if you would like to stay in touch, if you have any questions, if you would like me to tell you what's a good library to begin with, let's keep in touch. That's my LinkedIn handle, also Magdalena Kowalczuk on LinkedIn, and you can also follow me on GitHub. And yeah, I would like to thank you for coming to my talk, and I hope I made you hyped about contributing to open source and you will make the first step into the rabbit hole. And I'm open to questions. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you very much for this insightful presentation. Your expertise and passion for open source are truly inspiring, and I love your talk. To our audience, remember to ask your question in Discord. See you there.